Cardano has been on fire recently. We have seen Cardano breaking out of many different structures, and most recently, following on from yesterday's video, we have seen Cardano breach above the 55-cent range. This is very important because it does change our outlook here on Cardano. So in today's video, I'm going to be walking you through my thoughts and opinions with what this breakout means for Cardano's ADA and where I think things are heading next. Let's roll that intro and get right down into it. Okay guys, so Cardano breached above the 55-cent area, which was its previous swing high. As we were discussing yesterday, with all of these most recent moves to the upside for Cardano, it does change a few of the outlooks that we had, specifically with the probability of new bear market low points. Now, because we've breached up higher than 55 cent for Cardano, that essentially does mean that we can rule out that running irregular flat correction that we thought was potentially on the horizon here for Cardano. It essentially means that our structures are more than likely meaning that the bottom is in for ADA. That means 22 cent was the bottom, which ironically, is my exact prediction back in 2022. In early 2022, I said I was expecting Cardano to drop down to 22.3, and we hit 22 on the nose on the Binance chart. So although I did kind of think that the structures were a little bit worrying and we had the potential to move down towards the 15 to 18 cent range, turns out that my 2022 prediction for Cardano remains true and absolutely nailed it. With that being said, with this recent structural changes that we've seen and this recent breakout above 55 cent, we cannot and we should not rule out Cardano revisiting around the 30 cent level. There's a lot of support to be found there, and I think with everything being as overbought as it is on the monthly, weekly, daily timeframes, that a big corrective structure to the downside is something that we should be expecting. But a new bear market low, I think that ship has now sailed, which is fantastic news for those Cardano ADA holders. Now, if you haven't been dollar cost averaging, fear not. As I said yesterday, in one of the kind of strategies that I like to implement from time to time is you wait for the bottom to be identified, you wait for the confirmation, which we've just got, and then you buy the retracement to the downside. That means if you haven't dollar cost averaged, then I do think we'll be aiming for a nice purchase area with the understanding that the bottom is in and there's a risk to, breach that low, and buying it around 30 cent. This is a strategy that I really like to do from time to time if I haven't dollar cost averaged. There's a whole host of altcoins that I haven't yet bought into that I will be employing this exact strategy. We wait for the bottom to get confirmed, we buy the retracement as it happens, which is where I kind of place Cardano right now. So, with Cardano and the bottom, in my opinion, kind of 98% sure that the bottom is in for ADA, it kind of puts us in that position where we can start looking at the data, looking at what's going on, and starting to wait for those retracements, dollar cost average those retracements if we want to, and kind of wait for the next big swing to the upside. Now, when we dive into the data, we can see some really interesting points. We can see smaller wallets dropping to the downside as we start to see larger wallets soaking up that additional supply, i.e. smaller retail investors are selling their ADA on this recent move to the upside, and it's being purchased up by the larger wallets. Now, what's really interesting about this is it's kind of showing us the path forward here. Usually retail investors will sell, whales will be buying. Supply, everything else has to balance out, right? With smaller wallets consolidating down and larger wallets increasing, this is what they call capitulation, specifically with retail investors potentially selling at a loss on this move to the upside, trying to get out of their positions before a move to the downside, and the larger investors buying it up. So the on-chain data is getting quite interesting for Cardano. Is this going to basically force Cardano's price action a little bit higher? Capitulation is usually a pretty good sign that things are starting to turn to the upside and that we're starting to be a little bit more bullish, but at the same time we note that those larger investors potentially soaking up that supply will only drop it on the market as price pushes up a little bit higher, as retail continues to potentially FOMO in, realizing that they sold a bit too soon, that maybe there isn't going to be a retracement, and as soon as we start seeing that metric flash up, we should start to expect price action to pull back down. So again, I'm looking at Cardano's price action really positively. I'm not kind of salty, I'm not hurt, I'm not a perma-bear. I've got a very nice tidy position in ADA. I have done since 2020 when I bought ADA. I think it was around 8 cents. And you know, I've done incredibly well in the bear market by selling and buying and all that kind of good stuff. And you know, ultimately my positions in ADA are so packed. I've even said most recently and in our AMAs during last year and this year that we're just not really that interested in buying more ADA unless price comes down towards those 2020 levels, which I'm quite happy to say I don't think is going to happen. So for Cardano, I'm really pleased to see price action moving the way that it is. It's great to see the portfolio popping in green so very well, but again, all good things will come to an end, and we will see retracement, and we will see another opportunity to be buying up ADA if we wanted to. So if you feel that you haven't got the exposure that you want, do not fear, do not FOMO in, thinking that you're missing out on something. It is an inevitability that the market will correct to the downside. I think we're getting very close to that with Bitcoin and the rest of the market. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to see a great opportunity to kind of get into ADA positions or into altcoin positions before we get into that next big bullish market. The last opportunity to buy, if you will, or the last chance to buy. So I guess this video here is kind of to set the record straight a little bit that, yep, we kind of have broken out. I don't think a new lower low is coming for Cardano, even though I thought that previously in the last few months. I've definitely been very vocal about how I think a new bear market low is coming for Cardano. I think that ship has now sailed. We've got confirmation of our breakout. These are all fantastic things. And I think we're going to see some really good growth in ADA over the next several months after kind of capitulation, after kind of consolidation, and a fantastic run starting. I said it before and I'll say it again. Cardano is very well positioned with shrinking supply, total value locked growing, and we can see so many apps being built on the ecosystem as well that potential for supply-demand imbalances are great, meaning that price action for ADA to the upside is going to be very explosive. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below, but I'm going to leave the video right there. If you have found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new, subscribe and tap the bell, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.